All right, so now from here, we're just going to start at the beginning. Like if we have just the equation, we're going to get all of our key features from that and then use that to graph. And so the very first thing we want to do is look for the direction of opening. And so again, that's this value in front. So it's a -1, which means we're going to, it's going to go down. To find our x-intercepts, we're going to take our values, our factors, and we're going to set them equal to 0. So I'm just going to do that over to this side. So we're going to go x minus 4 equals 0 and x plus 2 equals 0. And so as we do that, we're going to add 4 to both sides to get x equals 4. So our first x-intercept is going to be 4, 0. And then our other one, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides to get x equals -2. And so our second x-intercept is at -2, 0. To find the y-intercept, remember, we're going to plug in 0 for x and see what happens. So we're taking our equation, and we're going to find f of 0, which just means we're plugging 0 in everywhere there's an x. So we're going to go -1 times 0 minus 4 times 0 plus 2. And we just do the work. And we can do that in our calculator. If we're not great at doing integers, put it in your calculator and it works. So we got -1, 0 subtract 4 is -4, 0 plus 2 is 2. And so when we multiply that together, -1 times -4 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So my y-intercept is at 8. And then we're going to find our vertex. And so to find our vertex, we're going to take our two x-intercepts, and so we're going to add them together and divide by 2. And this gives us our h value of our vertex. So 4 plus -2 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. And so our vertex, our h value of our vertex is going to be 1. In order to find our k value, maybe I want to write that over to the side, but it's okay. So we're going to do that. So h is equal to 4 plus -2 over 2. So 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. I'm just going to erase that for a second. All right, so what that does is it gives us the x value of our vertex. So our x value is 1, and we're going to look for our k value. And the way we find our k value is we take that 1 and we put it in our equation. So we're going to go f of 1 instead of 0. So we're going to go -1, 1 minus 4, 1 plus 2. So we're just putting 1 in everywhere there's a 0. All right, and so then we're going to do the work. So -1, this is -3, and this is +3. So when we multiply together, -1 times -3 is 3, times 3 is 9. So my vertex point is 1, 9. And when we are asked to use, we're going to use those points to graph. It talks about a max and a min point. The max or min point is your vertex point every time. The maximum or minimum value is the y value of your vertex. And so y equals 9 is our minimum value. And then we're going to take that and we are going to use or find the axis of symmetry. Remember, the axis of symmetry is going to be the x value of your vertex. So x is equal to 1. That's the axis of symmetry. Domain is always -infinity to infinity. And now our range is going to be a little bit different because our range is going to go down. Our range is going to go from -infinity up to our value. But let's just graph it so we can see those key pieces first. So as you look at your graph, so here's our graph, and we're going to go back to the things that we know. So if you look at a couple of things that are important in order to graph, is we need to know the axis of symmetry. So we have our axis of symmetry as being +1. So remember, that's just our dashed line that we're going to put down here. We know that our vertex point is 9. 1, 9. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We know that, what else do we know? We know that, 1, 9. Hello, that's negative 9. I do know how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. That's a little bit better. We know that our y-intercept is at 8. So we're going to mark that. And remember, axis of symmetry, everything, when we talk about it being symmetric, if we have it on one space to the left, then we're going to also have one space to the right because it's symmetric around that value. And then we have our x-intercept being at 4, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have our other x-intercept being at negative 2, 0. Okay, notice again, it goes 1, 2, 3 on 3 spaces to the right and 3 spaces to the left. So when I add those two values together and divide by 2, that's how we're getting that symmetric line. So we're going to graph our u. And then when we look at range, we're talking about the values of y. So notice that my y values are going to be forever down, right? Because these two endpoints keep going forever. And they're going to continue to go from negative infinity. And then they end up stopping at the y value of your vertex. So they end up stopping at 9. And so that's my endpoint. All right, so that is how we're going to use those pieces in order to get our graph. All right. So that is for factored form.